For us, it's not about fame. It's definitely about legacy.
Grandizer is synonymous with ASHEKMAN. Is that what you're saying?
Rebel with a cause or cause rebellion. We don't do art for the sake of art. We do art with a message. Technically, we were planning to invade the world.
Doing some research on you, it's not easy to sort of put you in a box, any kind of creative box.
I always wanted to ask someone who podcasts, who's your favorite dream guest? Next. I think Lebanon's identity and culture have been stolen and has been damaged on purpose. You asked me where did it all started. It's all the same as the country. It gets destroyed and then it builds itself.
Did you ever get arrested?
We actually, yes, got arrested once and we got stopped twice.
Hello everyone and welcome to Inside Track with me, Luca Allam. On today's show, I'm joined by one half of a very famous group. What is this group? Well, they do a bit of street painting, street art. They also do a bit of street wear. They've even recorded albums and toured Europe. They are ASHEKMAN.
خلقنا بالثمانينات وبالتسعينات كنا عايشين بوسط حرب أهلية وكنا طول حياتنا عم نفتش على السلام الداخلي وعلى السلم الداخلي. بس بدي اقول شغله انه نحن سيلف ميد ستريت ارتست بلشنا من الصفر لنصير انتربرينورز وصلنا لهون. بيروت سويسرا الشرق بدها شنغان لتفتلها بدها ساعتين لتوصلها بدها دولابين لتسكرها.
Today I'm joined by the slightly younger brother, Mohammed. Mo, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm 15 minutes younger than my twin brother Omar.
Yeah.
And technically we're not a group. Group sounds like a boy band.
Yeah. You're part of a boy band. You're part of a boy band.
Actually, we agreed that we're going to do a dance at the end.
We are going to do a dance.
Yeah.
For those who are watching, we will be doing a dance somewhere over there. Yeah.
We're actually a collective, a creative collective, street artists, entrepreneurs, everything under the umbrella of ASHEKMAN, the Arabic street art collective.
ASHEKMAN, it means exhaust pipe. Is that right?
I'm glad that you pronounce it ASHEKMAN, because some people, wink wink, we know who, pronounce it ASHEKMAN or ASHEKMAN.
Français, ASHEKMAN.
Exactly.
It's a bit classier when you say it in Lebanon.
Actually, it's derived from the French word échappement.
Okay.
In slang Lebanese, you say it ASHEKMAN or you pronounce it ASHEKMAN. So when you go to a mechanic and you say échappement, they won't take you seriously. You need to put your snapback, just flip it backwards and just say ASHEKMAN.
But it means exhaust pipe, right? I mean,
it means the exhaust pipe of the car vehicle.
So, and you guys launched what, 2001, right? You and your brother?
Technically, we were born in 1983. Legend says that we were born with a paint bucket and spray paint. Yeah. But then, fast forward, we started in 2001, officially in 2001. Yeah. And it was at a time where we felt there was a void in general in the culture. Because I went to a French school, then to an American university, and everyone was speaking either English or French or a mix of both. And we felt that Arabic is not cool in a way. And we wanted to create something, a platform. I would call it a platform, where we can express our opinions, our art, using the Arabic culture, like rich Arabic culture, from music to art, to typography, to calligraphy, to a lot of things.
Look, there's a lot we're going to get into today. We're going to talk a lot about the importance of the Lebanese heritage, the culture, the collection of the language. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about yourself and your brother and that relationship and that dynamic. And we're going to talk to you a little bit about what the future holds for not just yourself as ASHEKMAN, but also even for Lebanon. You've got a mug here. This looks very nice. Bit of calligraphy in the morning. I like that.
Thank you. So this describes actually ASHEKMAN. If you notice, there's calligraphy, hand designed by me and my twin brother, but also it has some graffiti elements, the arrow, a lot of these elements that we usually add as graffiti artists. So it reflects our background and in general the Lebanese melting pot. Lebanese culture is a melting pot of different religions, different political opinions. So it's old school Arabic calligraphy with new school graffiti.
Nice.
And it's in a way like me and my twin brother, Mr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde. It's two identical twins creating something. So whenever we're creating any art, we usually, I share a sketch or I throw, let's say, an idea and he bounces it back. So we play basketball, we play whatever ping pong, whatever it is, with the idea.
Nice.
And this is what the mug is all about. So we designed this mug, and it's one of my favorites.
You're also very generous. You brought a special mug, which has already gone up on my mug of guests, if you like. It's a to-go mug, right? This is by ASHEKMAN specifically, or
correct.
Okay.
So this is also
it's the big white one with the blue lid, huh?
Correct. So if you go into details and check the details, it has a calligraphy pattern. It's our signature.
Okay.
And it's not to go into specifics, but it's a mix of Diwani and Naskhi font that we designed. Plus, on the background, it has a grungy effect from like different photography or walls that we took. We took photos of different walls from Lebanon.
Yeah.
And then it has some calligraphy touch, a graffiti touch. It's a mix of three.
Have you noticed what's behind you as well? There's a nice customized piece of art that's behind you.
Yes, very interesting.
Talk to me about this. Talk to me. What's your first thought when you see that?
I mean, very interesting because every art we do, whatever we do as art, it's art with a message. And this is what I like about your podcast, for example. You're not doing it just to, it's an educational type of podcast. And you'll tell me more about it, about the name, by the way. I'm really interested about the insight part, because everything we do is based on insights. For example, the first one, you'll notice a lot in our artwork, a lot of graffitis, a lot of designs. You have a cartoon character called Grandizer.
Yes.
So Grandizer is a
Japanese
character,
right?
Japanese manga cartoon character called Grandizer. It's a
manga
robot.
is massive in Lebanon. I know a lot of friends.
So it was dubbed in Arabic.
Okay.
But this character was also dubbed in France. So it's famous in France. It's famous in Italy, by the way. It's called in France. It's called Goldorak.
Goldorak.
Yes.
How's your French? Your French is good.
I'm French educated.
Of course, but your mum's Italian educated. Is that right?
My mom is Italian educated.
But she's not Italian. She's Lebanese. Correct?
She's Lebanese.
Okay, so
she taught me Iyo Mekiamo Muhammad.
All right.
Actually, my family name is Kabbani.
Yeah.
So how do you pronounce it? Muhammad Kabbani.
Kabbani.
Yes.
Forza Kabbani.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. So Grandizer is synonymous with ASHEKMAN. Is that what you're saying? From an early age.
From when we used to watch, so we used to have 1 hour of TV. Like if any Lebanese watching this podcast, I'm sure there's plenty.
Yeah.
We used to have a TV channel called Télé Liban, Télévision Lebanon. With Télévision Lebanon, they used to broadcast specific hours, early 80s or mid 80s. And they used to show this cartoon character dubbed in Arabic. And used to be our childhood hero.
How bad was the dubbing? I always get skeptical.
No, it was very good. Actually, it was very good. It was very nice. Okay. And up until I was a teenager, I always thought that Grandizer was created as illustrated in the region, in the Middle East, Then I knew about the manga style and manga cartoons. So it personifies our savior in a way, because we believe we live in a society and in a region full of tyrants, full of political injustice. And Grandizer is going to save us.
So Grandizer is a symbol for justice, for reform, for change.
And we actually call him People's Champ. In a lot of our graffiti, we signed it actually People's Champ, because we're going to say we don't trust this politician or this leader or whomever you're following, and we put your votes on. And actually, Grandizer is our hero. Vote for Grandizer. Yeah. And actually, one of the presidential campaign back in Lebanon, we actually printed. We did a type of guerrilla marketing where we pasted Grandizer as a poster all over the next to the actual politicians or next to actual candidates.
Yeah.
So it was his face with a slogan "Batal al-Shab" as People's Champ. Go vote for our People's Champ. And we kept on using him in a way or another, but in a different format with different messages. And just the second design or the one in the back on the foreground.
The blonde lady.
No, the blonde lady, I'm going to explain who she is. She's Sabah, a famous Lebanese diva. But the one with the Grandizer hiding his eye, actually we did this during the Lebanese Revolution just 3 years ago. Like the police was shooting at the protesters, and a lot were hit on their eyes, a lot went blind. So it was one of our messages. We're pro-revolution, pro-reform, pro-change.
Before we go any further, typically on the show, if there's a question that I ask that you don't feel particularly comfortable answering, guests come up with a safe word. Do you have a safe word for me? A nice creative safe word for me?
I would say falafel.
Okay.
Falafel is my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah. Actually, wait, not falafel. Let's go for knefi.
Knefi?
There's a debate on what's the best knefi. I'm going to ask you what's your favorite knefi, because there are different types of knefi.
And there's also different people pronounce it in different ways. So if you're in a different country, it's kunafa, right? And then there's knefi, and then there's... No? Am I right? Am I right?
A lot of people will make fun of how we pronounce words in Lebanese, but it's knefe. How we pronounce it is knefe.
But that's the Lebanese version, it's knefe.
The Lebanese word. But
if I'm in Jordan, it's kunafa.
I mean, it's all the same.
If I'm in Egypt, it's... Do you know any good Egyptian slang?
I mean, there's the ta'miya, the famous whatever street food. But the word would be knefe.
So knefe is your safe word?
Yes. My favorite knefe is the Lebanese one, and there's a big debate which knefe is the best.
Okay.
Because we usually put the knefe inside the bread, like the kaki. So I don't know what's your favorite. Is it the Jordanian, the Palestinian, or the Lebanese, or even the Egyptian?
Like, honestly, I don't eat a lot of cheese because I'm massively lactose intolerant. But
okay, you're missing out a lot.
But the knefe that I've had has been in Lebanon. Okay. So when it's served directly and the cheese is like dripping, all that, it's melted, it's beautiful, right? Then
and it all depends on the ratio of cheese. So sometimes the cheese is too much.
Yeah.
So it's not good. It should be a 50-50 cheese.
Okay.
And it's usually... I like it this way when you put it inside the kaki or like a sort of bread with sesame. I prefer it inside the kaki.
So knefe is your safe word. When was the last time you had a good knefe?
During Eid.
Okay.
So during Eid we have a ritual. We just go in the morning and just have our breakfast. Yeah. The breakfast will be made from like a knefe.
I've got to talk about Omar as well. I know that you guys are very much a double act with everything that you do, right from the early days. And you even said, the first thing you said was that he's 15 minutes older than you, right? And you sort of kicked him out, whatever. I don't know what it's like to be a twin, but I know what it's like to have siblings. And obviously you guys are incredibly close. And you've forged a career, a life, an identity with each other. Very, very few people go in life hand in hand throughout. And you've sort of done that. So what is it like having someone else who looks exactly like you, has the same kind of interests, who's out there right now in the world as your doppelganger, but yet you feel so closely to? How does that make you feel?
Just as post-production, there won't be any dramatic music and violence, so there won't be any crying or stuff, no?
No. We keep it real here. Keep it real.
I knew Omar before meeting my parents. We went to the same university, did the same major, graphic design, and then we had the same interest, same type of music. And if there's an idea, if there's a creative idea, there's a telepathy. Definitely, this is real. We bounce ideas and we feel like it's the same idea, just in a different place. And we don't need to be at the same location to be doing this conversation, to have the same ideas. It is something I would say
it's freaky,
amazing.
It's a bit freaky though. It's like, it's telepathic in some
way.
It's
very interesting because imagine you have two Lucas. What could have done?
Nobody needs that.
The world don't need that.
My wife, she killed herself.
We have the same vision, same goal, and this helps us a lot. So imagine you have the same person working, regular person, like 9 to 6, works for 8 hours. Me and my twin brother, technically, we have the same entity as ASHEKMAN. We work for 16 hours in a way.
Yeah, you pull in the same direction. So there's no point where you've come up with a creative idea that Omar didn't like. I mean, going back to the early days and the identity around Grandizer and using graffiti as a certain way, you were always aligned, always? Or did you actually have points where you're like, you know what, we fundamentally disagree, we have to try and figure out a way of working together?
Sometimes we disagree, which is completely normal, but we discuss ideas, creative ideas, and the most important part is the end goal. So does it take the objective?
Yeah.
Is it like under our ASHEKMAN umbrella idea? Like because we have a set of objectives on what we want to achieve in general. Fame is maybe also great, but for us it's legacy. Legacy is more important than fame, and because fame you have a lot of, with all my respect to the social media, the TikTokers and the Snapchatters and all these influencers, they're great, but then will there be any legacy? For us, it's not about fame. It's definitely about legacy. Whatever we do, as if it's from our street art to our streetwear to our music to a lot of the things we used to do and we still do, be doing now or in the future, it's all about legacy.
So let's get into it. So the whole reason, your raison d'être, I'm trying to impress you with my French.
You need to say raison.
Raison d'être.
Okay.
I wish I could speak
to
you
and impress for you to speak the R.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Vous êtes trop gentil. So the whole reason why you guys were created was because, like you said right at the beginning, you wanted to showcase the Arabic culture, the Arabic heritage, the Lebanese culture in particular, and being very fiercely proud of your country and bringing that back to the sort of forefront of people's minds. You started off as a double act in music, and then you quickly pivoted into being able to paint, basically, in the streets, whether it's through graffiti, calligraphy, whatever the case is. So why did you do that? Why was picking up a pen, the proverbial pen, the way in which you wanted to showcase the importance of the Lebanese culture, heritage, and language?
So it's not just about Lebanon, because Lebanon is part of the Arab world. It's about Lebanese/Arab, but also there are two inspirations for us. First one is we're the product of our society. We were born in an environment where there was war since the 80s or maybe 60s and 70s and even the 40s. Early, like from Palestine, Iraq, Lebanon. But then we were born in the midst of the Lebanese civil war. And we remember when we used to be around maybe 8 or 10 years old, going to school, we used to see militiamen tagging their slogans, like owning neighborhoods, having checkpoints. And they are the rock stars of that area, you know. They used to have a sign of power, or they were in a way ruling this area just with them tagging the name of their leaders. And this was our main inspiration, by the way. It wasn't, let's say, the Brooklyn graffiti or the LA graffiti or the Berlin, not at all. It was literally the calligraphy, the Arabic calligraphy that used to be painted, spray painted, or drawn for the famous militia leaders back in the 80s and 90s in Lebanon. This is from one side. On the other side, our mom is a painter. She does oil painting, she does aquarelle, she does different types of painting. She's an actual painter. And our dad was a political thinker. So we live in a house.
Fusion, right?
Fusion, same as the smug.
You got politics and you got the creativity.
100%, same as the smug, like a mix of calligraphy, graffiti, a mix of old school, new school, a mix of
tradition
art,
meets modern, being
100%,
modern,
politics, harsh politics, and soft art, a mix of both. This is our DNA. So fast forward, wanted this platform, and this is why we created ASHEKMAN, because we felt that no one was expressing using the Arabic language. And the Arabic language was so
what are you
rich.
expressing? What are you trying to express?
So our first year at uni was around 2001, around September 11, around all this time where there was the Islamophobia, there was the prejudice around Arabs or Islam, or that they're terrorists, while this is purely a propaganda from the media. While on the other side, you have a rich history of philosophers, poets, artists, even politicians they created. So there was the golden age of Islam back in Andalus, back in long time ago. I wanted to revive this golden age in our way, in a simple way, by creating something positive, by creating something to voice out our opinion, using arts, using music, Arabic rap music, Arabic street art, and Arabic streetwear.
You have two kids. You have Lamis, who's 3 months. Is that right?
Lamis is 3 months.
And you have Faris, who's 3 years. Is that right?
Faris is 3 years.
Okay.
So hi, kids. After 20 years, when you see me on this podcast, you're famous already.
Yeah. It's not easy having 2 kids. So if Faris asks you as a 3-year-old, Daddy, what do you stand for? Or Daddy, what do you do? What do you tell him?
I mean, you need to be on the right side of every cause. That's it. You need to be righteous.
So if he asks you, what do you do? Or what do you stand for? How would you simplify that message?
This is different. What do you do for a living? Is this a different?
No. It's almost like
there's the TikTokers that says, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
That's a different question.
No, different type of question.
I would tell him I'm a go-getter. I'm an ambitious person. I want to be on the right side of history. So it's not about what I do as actually, it's more about the principles and the notion. This is what I will explain for my son. I want him to be I'm a self-made, be a go-getter, be good with people, be on the right side of the history.
Which is fantastic, by the way. And giving your kids setting with the right principles from the beginning is vital. ASHEKMAN does so many different things, right? And you've got fingers in so many different pies. Doing some research on you, it's not easy to sort of put you in a box, any kind of creative box. So now if someone says, what is ASHEKMAN? How would you, in really simple terms, explain what it is that you do and what you stand for?
We're a creative collective / entrepreneurs. And what we do is we try to push the Arabic culture forward, want to polish it, make it nice, make it cool. Because we're living in a society where everything can go wrong. If you say just with the woke society or with the woke culture, if you say anything, then it will be taken against you.
Yeah.
We're with the freedom of speech. We're with being just on the right side of history. Just say, and with the Arabic culture or Arabic art, or whatever we do as Arabic, this is what we're trying to push, the agenda of saying positive things about, or making the Arabic culture cool again, or putting it again, reviving the golden age of Arabic culture.
So you mentioned this a few times, being on the right side of history. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
I mean, just now, as a quick example, what's happening with Palestine and in Gaza or in Palestine in general, it's been happening since the 40s. And you cannot be a street artist without just saying, we're not living in a bubble, you know? As ASHEKMAN, we don't do art for the sake of art. We do art with a message. So we did graffitis around Gaza fi qalbi. We did graffiti around Min Irhabi, who's a terrorist. Well, Gaza fi qalbi means a stab in my heart, and Gaza, it's a play on word as literally Gaza in my heart. Or we did a graffiti saying, who's the terrorist? Who's the real terrorist? You need to ask a question. Our art are like based on insight. I need to ask about the insight track, but it's our art is all based on insights. So we want to throw a material or conversation so people start talking about it. You know, so I want to be at the forefront of what's right. Now, what's happening with Gaza. I don't believe in violence as whatever, war or military or whatever. I believe my power is with my spray paints, my pencils, but also with my creativity, with our creativity as ASHEKMAN. We believe we want to utilize this creativity for this cause. So if it's in Gaza now, 3 years ago it was with the revolution in Lebanon, what's happening against the corruption. And it's an ongoing battle. You find like a cause that you relate to, because we live in this society, you know, that you want to convey a message that reflects what's happening. We're with the underdogs against the oppressors.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm guessing that has never changed. It's been with you, right?
No, never.
Where do you think it comes from?
Sorry?
Where do you think that all comes from, that feeling? That wanting to take on the sort of the establishment and to fight for the people that aren't being listened to or who are being marginalized?
I mean, put any kid in Lebanon, let him live in Lebanon for the first, let's say, 10 years in his life, 10, 15 years. Then put the same kid, okay, put me in a place and put my twin brother in another place, you would have a different ASHEKMAN. Different place where, let's say, I like Switzerland, but say Switzerland with the chocolate and the beautiful nature and the serenity and everything.
It's very expensive, Switzerland, I tell you that.
It is, but it's an amazing country. Yeah. And then put me in Lebanon. I think Lebanon's identity and culture have been stolen and has been damaged on purpose, but it has an amazing core. So even if you do whatever you want to do with Lebanon, with all these wars and all this proxy, whatever, propaganda against Lebanon, at the end of the day, the Lebanese are resilient. We started from scratch. As ASHEKMAN, this is why you asked me where did it all started. It's all the same as the country. It get destroyed and then it builds itself. We get destroyed and then it builds itself. And ASHEKMAN are self-made street artists. We didn't get any support from anyone. We literally are self-made. We started working since we were teenagers, during uni. All the businesses that we did as entrepreneurs, it was us who were funding them. So interesting to tell you, I want to tell you just a quick story about how we started our, let's say, streetwear brand. After we used to do.
I want some, by the way, so.
Definitely. I was supposed to bring some.
Bring a big box, not like one.
All right, for sure.
Bring a box.
So it all started when we used to do concerts, Arabic rap concert. And after the concert, we used to sell our streetwear to buy spray paint. We used to buy spray paint to do our street art. We used to have visibility. Then we used to get more gigs, more projects. You call it a street marketing type of circle where we get exposure from here, we get, say, funding from here, and then we reinvest.
Yeah. Did you ever get arrested? Did you ever upset?
Actually, it's not here, but we actually, yes, got arrested once, and we got stopped twice.
Why?
So every street artist watching this podcast, you need to go to Lebanon because it's an amazing country, especially for street artists. So definitely don't do a tag in Baalbek or in Beit el-Din or in these beautiful, or in any beautiful building heritage. But go and tag walls that are
shitty.
By shitty, I mean no. It's interesting you said shitty because you have a lot of shitty walls, and this is how we wanted. One of the messages, one of the missions from ASHEKMAN from the beginning is we wanted to cover all the walls that are posted with that had politicians' posters or where had the bullet holes from the civil wars. We have a lot of these, so we used to cover them. So we invite street artists to go to Lebanon and tag because it's a heaven for street artists. You won't get stopped unless you're tagging in a sensitive area a sensitive neighborhood where you have some militias. Till now, yes, 2024, we do have that. Or like a place that is a bit unsafe.
So you're in a place where you shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be.
Is that how you got arrested? You were doing something in a place where you shouldn't be?
We were born, raised, studied in Beirut. We're from Beirut, so we know all the neighborhoods. We know a lot of people, and we're actually a lot of like whenever we tag something, we don't take any permission. We used to not take any permission. I'll tell you why now. We have to take permission. Previously, we didn't take permission when we used to do small tags, like just maybe like a 4 meter by 3 meters quick tag. We call it throw up type of tag.
Throw up, like literally.
Yeah, it's called throw up. There's a type of throw up.
I'm really sorry, I don't know much about this stuff. So
no
throw
worries.
up means is just
when you do a bubbly style of graffiti, it's
okay.
just a quick thing, and you can do it in like maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
But it's called throw up.
It's called throw up. Yeah, there's
like
a style of,
if you want to throw up. Okay.
So when you do a quick graffiti, you don't need permission. But now, since we're doing buildings, facades of buildings, obviously you need to take permissions. But what we do is we have budgets, we have funding from our side businesses, from our like entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. What we're doing is we're financing our street art, and sometimes we're paying for, let's say, the building will tell them, paying for the materials, tell them we're making this neighborhood nicer. And something very interesting I always like to mention is I want to turn Lebanon into a free museum. A free art museum where you can just walk around and see all these graffitis. And eventually it will tell the story of the city without having an actual guide.
I was going to ask you, what does success look like doing what you're doing, right? Because it's part of a, I hate to say the word, but it is a kind of movement that you've been doing for such a long time, right? Raising awareness, trying to change some things from a street level. What is success for you?
Imagine you have maybe after 50, 60, 70 years or 100 years, you have our kids seeing these. So it's all about legacy. It's all about like a good storytelling. It's all about our kids after maybe 100 years seeing these graffiti or seeing this art and knowing the history uncensored. Because now only the victorious, only the person who has victory will tell the story, although it might not be the right story. So from our end, is we're trying to tell the story using art, and there's no censorship, you know? I just want success for me is just want to tell the story, the right story, uncensored. In 100 years, 200 years, people will see it on the wall and say, oh, okay, this happened back then.
You've got a team behind you, so it's not just you and your brother. You've got a team in Dubai, and you have a team in Beirut who work for ASHEKMAN. Right?
Yes. So
what do they do? Are they on the streets? Are they planning creatively in big marketing campaigns? Are they launching new products and merchandising? What do they do?
I mean, it's not like the usual company as you have a 9 to 6. You have a street team. You have people from 9 to 6, but you have a street team. You have graffiti artists. You have people in marketing that handle our stuff. So we need managers from our end to handle our art and our business on the side.
Do they send you like an idea of what they want to paint, and then you kind of give them the approval? Is that how it works?
So think of it as we're the creative directors / graffiti artists of ASHEKMAN.
Okay.
And we have a team with us that help us.
So you give them brand guidelines, you give them direction.
I wouldn't call it this way because it sounds too corporate, and we're not with it. Like with ASHEKMAN, it's not just a fun type of corporate environment. But yes, anyway, yes.
There's a freedom. There's a liberty to what people can do within a certain type.
So it's not just the street art, but also the streetwear. So also we create a lot of Arabic typography, Arabic calligraphy on streetwear. And this is where we get support. We also have the business team. So you have the, let's say, creative, and you have the business who handles our deals, negotiate, let's say, our presence in a specific, let's say, event or exhibitions or stores or websites or even PR, you know. Nice. So they handle all the stuff for us. And we always say that we are a two-man army. Although we're 2 people, but then I don't think we'll be able to make it if it's not with the team that surrounds us. And I'm not saying it just for now, people who start clapping in their house, starting jumping on their sofas, oh, you said something. But seriously, like you can't do it alone. Like it's me and my twin brother, but then you have a team that will guide us, that will be consultants. Even let's say my wife or even our family, you know, you have people that will at some point give their opinion, give their feedback, because you have people from different background, like legal, creative, etc. You know.
Has your son Faris picked up a pen and started to draw and paint and stuff?
I mean, just we're doing some renovation in the house, and my son took one of his pencils and started drawing on his in his room on his wall, and we noticed it, and I'm not painting it. I'm not painting it. I'm
as
keeping
a dad,
as his
right?
first
And as
graffiti.
one half of ASHEKMAN, how proud were you when you started sawing him dry a paint on walls?
I wasn't proud when we started drawing in my car. My car has a white interior.
Yeah.
So we started drawing on the white leather. It wasn't cool, but in his room, fine.
That's not great. Look, let's do some. It's inside time. I've got a bag with a bunch of balls in it. Each will have a question that we're going to discuss and we're going to chat through. So if you don't mind, take the first question from within
There's
the bag.
No spiders. No.
There's no spiders that I'm aware of. At least I don't think so.
Okay.
But yeah, so take a ball out, read it out loud, and let's have a chat about it.
Rebel with a cause or cause rebellion?
Yeah, so are you a rebel with a cause, or do you want to cause rebellion?
I'm definitely a rebel with a cause, because whenever there's a cause, and a cause doesn't need to be something related to war. A cause can be an injustice in a way, famine. It could be poverty. It could be something. So one thing we do as ASHEKMAN is every year we collaborate with NGOs and to do CSR campaign. Not CSR in the form of corporate social responsibility, and something for charity. If it's like a giveaways for orphanage, or let's say we did the graffiti. So one really cool, just to answer your question, in one really cool activation we did. So Omar conducted a workshop, very cool workshop for unprivileged kids in Lebanon from different Palestinian camps. And what we did is we taught them how to do graffiti. So we gave them a power, we gave them a tool for them in the future to use. They could grow to be graphic designers, they could be artists, And we did a month of a workshop. And it was a very cool way to just have a noble cause to help whomever needs help. And even now, by the way, whenever someone asks us for support, the cause, we study the cause, we check for the insight, we check for anything, if it's something relevant to us, if it's within our brand guidelines, although we don't have a brand guidelines, but if it's within our of ASHEKMAN ethos, and we definitely help. So 1,000,000% we're rebel with the cause.
Let's say a lot of the work that you're doing on the streets in Beirut helped inspire a rebellion. You wouldn't be upset, would you?
Not at all.
You'd be happy, right?
Definitely I'll be happy.
That's legacy.
Definitely.
That's legacy.
Yes. Actually, we've been doing graffiti for almost 20 years. We did a lot of workshops in major universities, in AUB, in American University of Beirut, in LAU, in Alba, in AUD, American University of Dubai. So we did a lot of workshops. We always get called to do creative workshops. And we see this new wave of graffiti artists. I don't like to call it inspired from ASHEKMAN, because I feel it's too early for people to get inspired by us, but at least following the same approach, which is amazing.
Yeah, so you're doing this not to cause a rebellion, you're doing it because you believe in a cause. But if it happened to cause and create an actual movement that created a rebellion, then you'd be very happy with that.
I'd be very happy.
Great.
I feel this question was inspired by Audioslave. Do you know Audioslave?
No, I don't.
Okay, you need to listen to Chris Cornell and Audioslave. They're a famous band.
So look, all of my questions on this part of the show, the inside time, or with the bag of balls, they're always specific to the guest. So you need to have a certain level of creativity each time to try to think of something that can be thought-provoking and to drive insights.
Debate, graffiti and art can change things.
So the debate is, can graffiti and art, it can't change things, or do you think it can? Realistically speaking now.
They definitely can. They're part of the movement. They're not the full movement, They're part of different components. So one of our inspiration is an artist called Shepard Fairey. Shepard Fairey is a famous street artist. He did the famous Obama Hope poster. So he's a political/social street artist. He's definitely one of our inspiration. You need to check him out. And he have this political campaign called Obey. Political street art campaign called Obey. And it was part of a lot of these movements that happened in the US way before the Black Lives Matter. But there definitely, graffiti is part of a movement. And also, let's say, graffiti steers a conversation, or it starts a conversation, or launch a conversation, so about a specific topic. If you see what, let's say, Banksy is doing, Banksy in the UK from Bristol, he does let's say, a street art, and it goes viral. People start asking questions and about a lot of social and political causes. And this is what we want to do. So we do a lot of political campaigns. One really cool campaign we did was, just to answer this question, was a campaign called Zahit. Zahit means in slang Lebanese. When you tell someone Zahit, means just buzz off or So we create an actual soap brand. It's not a commercial one, an actual soap brand called Zahit. And to think about Zahit, it's about Zahit for all the corrupted politician, and that was during the revolution. So we created a packaging, and we manufactured a soap.
So they can clean themselves.
They can clean themselves, and the slogan was, it cleans 99%, not of germs, it cleans 99% of dirty politicians or corrupted politicians. But not just that, we did posters, we did outdoors, we did like billboards, and we placed these billboards around politicians' houses in Beirut for like 2 weeks. Yeah. So it made the buzz. So it's not about making a change, but it's more about starting the conversation. Yeah. So it's definitely a major component.
So is there a piece of art that's being created? You mentioned Banksy before, but is there one piece of art or graffiti that you think has helped change the world? And you can go back, it doesn't have to be recent. Is there anything that comes to mind?
I mean, I visited the wall, Berlin Wall.
I have a piece of the Berlin Wall, actually.
Me too.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, what did your wife tell you about when you bought the piece of...
Actually, it was a gift.
It was a gift.
Someone gave it to me, yeah.
All right. So my wife told me, what, you're buying it? Tina, hi Tina. Yeah. She knows that this is true. She told me, are you really buying like a piece of stone or like a piece of wall? I told her, yes, it's a piece of history. Yeah. It tells a story. Yeah. And actually, I managed to buy like a small piece, and it's now part of my my living room. But I felt that the graffiti in the Berlin Wall, they were all like a major part of what's happening, because now I own a piece that changed the East and the West and all the geopolitical story and the Cold War and pre-Cold War. So I felt that all the graffiti in the Berlin Wall are like have this strong messages, and they made this change.
Which was better, East or West graffiti, would you say?
In what sense?
Did you ever see the differences between what was graffitied on the east side of the wall versus the west side?
No, actually, there was just one major pillar, but I haven't noticed it.
I'd be quite curious to see.
I mean, because
you mentioned talking about yourself and Omar growing up in two different places. East and West Berlin were totally different.
Yeah,
so I would love to see. I would love to have seen the cultural creativity, what that would have come to light on each side of that wall.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll probably never know. But if someone does know, let us know. Another ball. Let's do it.
Who's better looking, you and Omar? Definitely me. Next.
So you guys are identical.
We're identical twin brother, and at some point people get confused.
So the question was, by the way, who's better looking, you or Omar? And you said, yeah, yourself. And they were very, very quick. So you're identical. Right? Have you ever been confused by a lady in the past?
Yeah.
Did a girlfriend think they were speaking to the wrong brother?
Yeah, my wife actually once by mistake just hugged my brother by mistake. She was sitting next to him.
Just a hug?
Just a hug, just a hug.
How did you feel?
I wasn't in the room, actually. I was outside, so she didn't notice. And yeah, it happened. We were wearing the same thing.
Who told you first? Did Omar tell you, or did she tell you?
No, she noticed it, and she felt, she freaked out. Yeah. But then, I mean, not just girls, but in general, people, when we're walking in the airport, in the mall, and you see people maybe like saying hi to me, and they think that I'm Omar. And I'm not, and I open conversation, but Omar, he's not like, he doesn't want to continue the conversation, so he just cut it and just move forward.
So how do I know I'm not speaking to Omar right now?
You'll never know.
You'll never know.
I mean, you can. And actually, Omar has a scar.
Okay.
So this is how we'll know a scar.
Did you give it to him so you can A, make him less attractive, and B, make yourself more identifiable?
I mean, back when we were living the street life,
that's a yes, by the way. That's exactly what he did. He cut him at an early age. I love that.
No, I mean, this is how we can differentiate us. But I mean, in terms of voice or the way we communicate or the way we look, we're almost identical. 90%, almost there.
Okay, but you're better looking.
Yeah, always.
Clear. That was an easy one. I like to throw in a couple of easy ones just to,
awesome.
Lighten the mood a bit.
I always wanted to ask someone from podcasts, who's your favorite or dream, besides me, dream guest? Living or whatever.
Man, that's a good question.
Yeah?
For me, I'm I have an international more skew. So if anyone who I'd want to bring on, from a dream perspective, it's only recently, because I've been living in Dubai 15 years, I'm getting more locally nuanced.
Okay.
So it's not an easy question to ask.
Doesn't have to be living.
I'm with you. Look, there are some historical figures.
Okay.
Imagine Jesus was sitting here.
Okay.
Right? Imagine the kind of questions you could ask religious leaders.
Okay.
Imagine you had Gandhi was sitting here. Nelson Mandela was sitting here. You're talking.
I mean, it would be a good option.
You have people who have lived in the past. I mean, Winston Churchill. You've got. It's such a huge breadth. There are some people. I'd love to have Oprah. Oprah would be fantastic.
Okay.
How many people she's spoken to? I mean, a lot of people still see her as the GOAT when it comes to being able to talk to people and to get insights from and to humanize.
What do you feel about Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan's amazing. Joe Rogan, look, he helped sort of blaze the trail, and he was doing it by himself. He was being himself, which is fundamentally what you need to be.
With his friends.
That's it. And it's like, and I think what I like most about Joe Rogan is that if you watch his first podcast versus his most recent,
with Spotify,
and he's still himself. He hasn't really changed. He still swears what he wants to say. He says it as it is. He doesn't cool things. I love that. So being authentic and genuine is very hard in this day and age. You mentioned about the woke movement and having to, you can't say this, you can't say that wrong. You've got to keep everyone on side. Well, you don't have to. One of the most successful podcasters of all time is just being himself, and I think a lot of people can learn from that. Be yourself. And don't be apologetic about it. So look, there's a lot of people I would love. Sports, from a sports perspective. There's a lot of people, whether it's the football background, or tennis, or even golf. Imagine Tiger Woods are here, talking about Tiger Woods' life and story. I mean, that's a hell of a journey Tiger Woods had from a young age to today, and all the stuff that he had to go through. So there's a lot of people I would love to have on the show.
Interesting.
Maybe season 3, we'll see.
With more budgets.
Yeah, maybe not Gandhi. I don't think Gandhi's going to be here.
The next question is politics on the streets or in parliaments?
Yeah. So should politics belong on the streets amongst everyone, or should politics belong in parliament?
I'm not sure of the etymology or the origin of the word politics.
Go with
what I would say is that politics needs to be for everyone, for the streets and on the streets and in parliaments, in saloons, and everywhere, because eventually it will dictate your life. So I would say politics on the streets.
Do you feel it's very different to what's happening in Parliament? But does Parliament actually represent what's happening in the streets?
I mean...
And it doesn't have to be Lebanon or the region. It can be generally speaking. If you look
I'm not with the saying that everyone is corrupt. Let's say in Lebanon.
Yeah.
Everyone is corrupt. No, not everyone is corrupt. You have people that are working. They are in the parliament. But you have a lot of rotten politicians that have been there for the past 40, 50, 60, 100 years as families and as whatever, taking over the parliament, hijacking the parliament. And... what I believe is that the street is more not just uncensored, but you feel it's pure. When they want to voice out something, want to demand something, it's pure. It's coming from a place of a need. So if someone is poor, if someone is unable to pay for his kids' tuition, unable to go to the hospital, this is where they're demanding something. While in the parliament, they're demanding for anything, or they're passing a bill for their pockets.
If you look at what's happening in the world now, I mean, at the time of recording, there are elections taking place. I mean, 2024 is a big year for elections, whether it's in the UK, France, the US, as well as obviously in the region. Do you think that the parliament, the politicians, are actually now really representing the people?
No.
Or have they ever represented the people? Have they always represented themselves?
Because I think in the West it's completely different than in the Middle East, or specifically in Lebanon. You have lobbies that controls the parliaments or the politicians. You have lobbies that control the bills, they control even the presidents. While in the Middle East, it's a bit different. You have militias, you have powers, you have political parties, and you have the civil society, and you have people that are not politicians, not politicians, traditional politicians that can control it. What's happening in the Middle East, but specifically in Lebanon, needs a case study. How you don't elect a president, because we don't have a president for the past 3-4 years. And it's all because of parties fighting for part of the cake, They're just cutting the cake.
The thing is, even if you look at the West and you can see, I still believe what's happening on the ground is very different to what happens in Parliament. You see the protests that's taking place right across Europe. A lot of them feel they're not being represented in their own government. It's not just in Lebanon. I think the world is at a point where there is a need and a requirement for real change that is going to allow others and the future generations to flourish. Right now, I've never been more worried about the next generation. I mean, I've got a kid who's 1 and I've got a kid who's 2. And in 15, 16, 17 years' time, when they're going into the world and want to try and work, I have no idea what kind of world they're going to get me into. And that scares the hell out of me.
Okay.
So look, we were fortunate enough to some degree I grew up without wars, I grew up without, that sort of conflict. But I also know that the world is becoming more extreme by the day.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit worried about that. I'm worried that rational thinking, logical thinking is kind of going out the window and things are being driven more and more by emotion, greed. I really hope that things do progress and do change. But at the moment, I still see a massive requirement for overthrowing of organizations, states, governments, because they are not representing the people. And that's a sad indictment living in 2024. If you look at the big countries, who the leaders are, those big countries, and I'm not going to name names, but if you look at them really, are they good people? Are they emotionally stable? Do they have the best interests of their country and their government and people at heart? Question is probably no.
For me, if you want to do a change, disregard the politicians and start doing lobbying. I believe that lobbying will do a lot of things, will push a lot of bills, because lobbies are controlling the politicians. Politicians are muppets. They are probably being controlled literally with a thread, and they're being taken right, left, and by the lobbies. If you create a political lobby and you do like some political pressure, or you do try to push a specific agenda, this is how you can do it, not scattered, but unified in a lobby.
Yeah. Do you think the UAE have got it right?
I mean, one, I'm blessed to be based in the UAE, living in the UAE, because for a lot of reasons. What the UAE is making it right is that thrive, do whatever you want, make $1 zillion, and let's live in peace and in harmony. So if you mix tolerance with living in peace and living with the safety that you have in the UAE, you'll be able to thrive. Now, I would definitely and my son and my daughter will be growing in the UAE, but I would definitely put them at some point in Lebanon, just to see, because here it's really a model for everyone. So at some point, the GCC was described as the new Europe. Riyadh, one country or one city, and UAE one country, and this is where everyone wants to come. If you ask me, do you want to go and live somewhere else? I would tell you definitely not. In Europe or in the US, I would go for a visit. I would go for tourism, but to live, I will only live in.
We're very privileged to be here, and I think this is definitely a model.
Yeah.
This is a real model for how the world should be living. Yeah, and I think we should always count our blessings. My wife always tells me to be grateful, so I'm very grateful for that. Right, let's do another question.
Yeah.
I think we have 3 more. My math serves me right. Were you any good at maths as a kid?
Not really. I'm into art.
Okay.
Power in the art or power in the artist?
So is the power in the art and the message, or is the power in the artist? So if there's a famous artist like a Banksy, will that give it more power, or is the actual power in the art itself?
So it's definitely power in the art. Banksy is a concept. It's not just an actual artist. He has a street team. It's known. If you're into graffiti, you know that Banksy can do whatever he's doing alone. So he did the famous art, let's say, in one of the walls in the West Bank. So it's all about the art and the message, not the artist. If you want, for me, power in the artist is more if you're in the social media age, if you want to be an influencer, if you like cameras, if you like just to be to put your face out there. But for me, as ASHEKMAN, people don't know me as Muhammad or Omar. Whenever, hey, ASHEKMAN or whatever, yeah, you're part of ASHEKMAN. So I don't care for people to know my governmental name. Just ASHEKMAN, I'm fine, So it's definitely, we always try to push for the art and for the message rather than us. Because our kids will be the next ASHEKMAN. Our grandkids will be ASHEKMAN. People in the second, third generation will be the next wave of ASHEKMAN. So ASHEKMAN is a notion, is a concept. It's not just actual people.
But it's funny you say that, because a lot of artists are remembered based on the name, whether it's a Picasso or Andy Warhol or a Da Vinci. They remember the name more than the actual art specific, except for maybe the Mona Lisa, general speaking. Yeah. But the artist is always well remembered in terms of its legacy.
So they're doing art for the sake of art. For me, I'm doing art for the message. I want to be remembered that, you did this message, or you did this, that they did this change, or did this reform, or whatever. It's not necessarily about the actual person. It's ASHEKMAN with a message.
Okay.
The artists that you mentioned are more into fine art, I would say, not like political or social artists.
Okay, cool. I like it. Have you ever done this before? On an interview
or
on a conversation?
No, not here. It's a new concept, and I'm enjoying it. Best thing about being Lebanese.
كنافة.
الكنافة? No, that's the word. I mean, it's the food, it's the culture, it's the art, it's the people, actually. It's the people. Okay, best.
It's generic. Come on, it's generic. Everyone says the people. What is it about the people?
I mean, the positivity about the people. Imagine, let's say you
Are
have...
they positive? Are Lebanese people positive, would you say?
I mean, I witnessed the bombings in the 2000s when every, let's say, a week used to have a bombing. And so for us, it's like fireworks. Literally. It's like you have the bombings on one end. Okay, unfortunately, people were assassinated, martyrs, killed or whatever. Then on the other side, we stand up, wake up next day, we open our stores, we open our business, we open our laptop, we just want to live because we love life. Okay, one thing, let me answer you on this 3 words. Best thing about being Lebanese is that we love life. This is how I describe it.
Yeah, I like that.
So if I want to ask you a question, what is it like being a British Italian, lived in Nigeria and then lived all his life in the UK?
What's it like? It's confusing. That's the word I would use. Look, I feel blessed because when I go out and if I go to a European bar,
okay,
I feel like I can connect. If I go to Europe, I feel like I connect. If I go to the UK, it feels natural.
Okay.
When I'm here talking to you, there's a lot of similarities I can still pick up on. So I feel blessed in a way that I can sort of broaden out. Even when I bump into some Africans and I tell them that I speak to them in my pidgin English.
Oh, nice.
They always get a little bit surprised. I used to go to Nigeria and I used to have a Nigerian passport when I was younger.
Okay.
So I used to go into the immigration queue. I don't have it anymore, but they would always look at me and go, this guy can't be Nigerian.
Do you listen to Burna Boy?
I don't. No,
okay.
no.
He's from Nigeria.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Okay.
It is a confusing time, but I think I've learned to embrace it, and I actually enjoy it now because I feel I can connect with pretty much anybody. If that makes sense, and this is kind of one of the reasons why I started this as well.
Nice. Actually, my grandmother is Austrian.
Okay.
So I'm interested in doing this DNA, by the way. Everyone's telling me go do this DNA test.
Yeah.
So your DNA will be European, Middle Eastern.
No, you'll probably get some surprises.
So your mom is from which part of Italy?
She's from the north. She's from
north. Okay.
From near Como. There's a little village called Mariano Comenze.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful area. Really.
So you'll have a lot of Mediterranean DNA, I would say.
Yeah, and also but it will be mixed, right? I mean, I think 1/3 of the population anyway came from Genghis Khan. So
Oh really?
Yeah,
because he invaded.
He did. He had a lot of fun. I tell you, a long time ago. I think doing a DNA test would be nice, but it probably might add even more confusion to what I already have. So
okay. Don't do it.
I'll stick with a 4. 4 is enough for me.
Make history or protect history?
Oh, I love this question. Would you rather make history or protect history?
In what sense?
So you started about mentioning about you wanted to shed light about Arabic culture, the Lebanese culture, and bring it back to the forefront. Whether it's calligraphy, whether it's this, whether it's that, the language. And that's about showcasing the heritage of the region and of the country. But you also want to create legacy. You also talked about that. So is it more important for you to make history or protect and to bring to light the history of what's already come to pass?
I would say a mix of both, because you need to have a foundation. If you don't have history, you don't have future. You need to have...
I'm not going to allow it.
No, of course. By the way, I'm all about black and white. Like I'm just wearing black and white cool Amiri sneakers.
Let's do a high five with our feet. There we go. Boom.
I'm just wearing black. So I believe in black and white. I don't believe in gray, although I'm wearing a gray pants. But for me, it's about making history while taking... So you can't create anything from scratch. You need to have a source or inspiration, or at least you have a foundation. Foundation is with history. I wouldn't call it protect, but this way you can make history by having a reference. So for example, if I don't have the reference, so when we graduated from uni, my twin brother went to a master calligrapher called Master Ali Asi. He's a master calligrapher. He's not like in his maybe late 80s or like late 70s, early 80s. So he's a master calligrapher. And he taught us how to pick up the stylus. And he taught us how to draw the naskhi, the diwani, the calligraphy. We wouldn't have done this wouldn't have made history if it's us just Googling or learning. We need to depend on someone or learn from someone. So we will make history, but also while preserving the history, the art of history. Now, all of the calligraphy or typography that we do in our designs are inspired from calligraphy, but if you put them and if you show them to any, like a master calligrapher, would say these are not the 100% classical for one main reason, because we wanted to add our touch, we wanted to create a history with our touch. And it's always about mixing the traditional calligraphy, so this is the history, with our graffiti and street art and all our thinking. So a mix of both. So I would go for make history.
Makes sense. You started your ASHEKMAN singing, you and your brother, right? And
I wouldn't call it singing.
No. You were doing rap, right?
Yeah,
you were
rapping.
doing some rap, right? You were rapping. Let's hear it.
Falafel? Knefe, was it Knefe?
No. I want to hear. You got to give us a line. You got to give us a line.
I would say Knefe. You would go to YouTube and just
don't let me bring Omar on. Omar will rap. I know. Omar's he's a better rapper apparently than you are.
He is. He definitely is.
Oh, one thing interesting. I was
one thing interesting, by the way. So we stopped rapping around 2010, where we launched 2 albums. We did the European tour, and it was a cool thing during uni. And right after uni, we did like this hip hop gig. We used to have, let's say, DJs, singers, and like a full band. We used to do touring in Europe and in the Middle East. One thing interesting is that, every rapper used to write lyrics. So in a lyric, in any rap music, you have the verses. So the first verse and the second verse. So we literally used to bounce verses. I used to write, let's say, 1 or 2 bars. I used to send me the bars. I used to write the songs together. It's crazy. Just trying to get away from your request.
Yeah, I like that. Give me a line.
I don't have anything in mind, frankly. But you can go on YouTube, can check out some of our music video clips that are, by the way, all the art direction and the cinematography and the design, the look and feel, the lyrics, and the music was always supervised or done by us.
It's been great having you on. Before we conclude, what's your biggest insight, would you say? What's been your biggest learning? I know you're 41, is that right? You're 41 years old, right? You've done a bunch of different things. You've also worked in corporate, which we haven't really talked about, but you also have a proper 9-to-5 job, as well as obviously doing ASHEKMAN as well. What's been your biggest learning or your biggest insight so far?
Be laser focused on your objective. You'll hear a lot of people giving feedback, negative, or people who cheers and who claps. Doesn't mean that they're right, and people who gives negative feedback, also you don't need to listen to them. So just stay focused on your objective and have a winning team with you. So for me, it's my family, my brother, my family, my team, and this way you'll just have fun. And most importantly, and maybe I will conclude this with something my late dad used to tell me, you can make money, you can be successful enough if you love what you do. You can be a falafel vendor, you love what you do, you'll be a millionaire. So for us, it's just we really like what we do. So we really like, let's say, street art and street food and street culture and street streetwear. So we like this culture. And I would see myself in the next, maybe you might see me when I'm maybe 70, 80 years old on a scaffold somewhere just spray painting, or maybe you might see my mugshot. Yeah, just love what you do, and most importantly, have a message with your art.
I love it. Look, I loved having you on. I love the messages that you've come up with today, and I sincerely wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
I definitely want a box of clothes. I want some of that Zahid soap.
So if you're in Lebanon and you go into you want to have a problem with someone, just tell him Zahid.
Yeah, I probably won't do that.
But don't do this. It will look Italian and Lebanese. So don't tell him Zahid.
I don't think they'll like that particularly well. But mate, look, best of luck with everything. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We'll stay in touch, guys. Please like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for the next episode of the Inside Track.